Hello everyone, it's Kiki Halbert here today, and I really want to wish you a very happy National Scrapbook Day. Today I'm going to be working with a Hip Kit Club kit that I received recently, and I'm going to throw in a little mixed media. The funny part is that as much as I enjoyed working with the mixed media, I didn't end up following through on my original idea. But I will show you how I go through the process. Right now I'm using some clear gesso from Dina Wakley. And I showed at the beginning of the video a brayer that you can use for this as well to get a nice smooth layer. But you don't need to have any expensive tools. You can just use an old gift card like I am here. And I'm just getting this on the page in areas where I know that I'm probably going to do watercolors. You'll see that I've got a watercolor brush on the right hand side, a palette knife, and some magicals, Lindsay Stamp Gang magicals. So these magicals I think went really well with the kit. And so what I'm going to do is, in the photos that you see on the bottom right there, I'm resting up against a rock and it's beach pictures. And so I thought what I wanted to use is some of these liquid text glass bead gel and to replicate kind of the feeling of sand. And in the end, I liked it, but I didn't like it enough to make it the focal point of the layout, so I end up covering up a lot of it. But you'll see why I really like the bead gel, because it gives a whole different texture than texture paste would. You've got these clear glass beads that end up reflecting light just beautifully, and the medium that they sit in, this gel texture, is actually shiny. So it's a way of adding some shine to your layout. And I thought I would try something with putting the watercolors on the page and just kind of having them move around through those beads to see if I could color up some of the beads or things. And in the end, I ended up covering them up, as you'll see. But what I'm doing right now, I added gesso to the page so that when I put on the watercolor will move around. This is all the same going to warp my paper. Don't fool yourself. If you're working with mixed media, you're going to end up with some warping of your paper. But I mean, if you're not, you can straighten those out later. You can iron them on a very, very low heat. But I don't really worry about the warpage. So I'm just adding these 3 different colors. So there's Laura's Wild Mauve, or Malve, there is Karen's Coral, and there's Andrea's Azalea. So I'm using all 3 colors, and I'm just going to let them kind of run into each other, put them on the page, and I'm doing that with, rather than having a jar of water on my desk, I'm doing that with a water brush. So so that I can just kind of add water when I need to or where I need to, and then just let it run all over the page. So I really didn't want that purple drip down at the bottom. I was really kind of disappointed by that, and I didn't have gesso down there, so I cannot pull it up from the page at all. The same with the little drip that's on the left-hand side bottom. But in the end, it's not that big a deal because I ended up covering it up with embellishment. But I do like the fact that when you're working with the water brush, you can just kind of squeeze some more water in where you would need it. I really love these colors, how they're working together and blending together. But in the end, I do end up covering up a lot of this. And I you know, you're not using a lot of your magicals with this, so that's not that bad. But it is something to consider, you know, later. So it's been a while since I've worked with my mixed media, so I know for the future I'm definitely going to go a little bit lighter on that. So I've set my page to the side. And now what I'm doing, I've already matted my my photos on one of the papers from the kit, and I've also added some tissue paper in hot pink, which I think goes really well with this kit to you know, get those photos to stand off the page. And now I'm just adding some additional layers. And the only thing that I find about when you're working with like a papers with a stripe, you know, if you can't really put that crooked on the page, and I'm really one of those people that likes to put photos kind of crooked on an angle and things like that, and I really thought twice about it afterwards, but I decided to stick with it and keep working with it, and I really do like how it turned out in the end. It was really, I think, a good choice because I've got a rather large graphical paper that I'm going to use. I've got a very small dot and I've got striped paper. So, you know, in the end, it's going to turn out okay, because I think all three of them, or all four of them, are going to match up pretty well. So now what I'm doing is I'm just sort of checking my photos to see where I'm going to place them on the page. I still at this point haven't even decided where I'm going to be putting my title, to tell you the truth. I'm just kind of doing a lot of winging it. I know that I want some of this purple to show up so that it brings out the purple in my top. So I am going to cut off enough that I can make a banner, and there's a lot of purple in the flowers there. I've cut some extra papers that you'll see there, and now I'm going to start layering my papers. And so I'm just layering these just for some interest. I'm trying not to show too much of the bottom. You'll see I end up covering a lot of the bottom with the beads because I ended up not liking where it was going. But what I did do is I brought in a small polka dot that I thought was going to be cute. I'm going to move it around a bit so that some of the purple at the top shows up there. So you'll see that I'm playing around with my paper placement a little bit. I'm going to shorten some of the layers, but all these layers are going to show up at different levels. They're not going to be all even and everything. So that's kind of going to add some more interest. And if you're following Shamel Lane's half and half class, she's got some amazing tips in there for how to do some paper layering. So, so check that out if you get a chance. So I've decided that I'm going to use this floral paper but make a banner from it, and I'm going to have it stick out a little bit on the end on the left hand side, and just keep playing with the paper placement. And when I think I have it down, I think that's where I'm going to stick with things. So pretty happy with that. Now initially I go for my Scotch quick dry glue, but because I have all that texture on the page underneath, I really go for my Halbert quick dry 450 quick dry, because number one, it's a thicker glue. Number two, it's not going to soak through your page. My page is already wet enough, or it was wet enough. It has enough warping. I don't need any more. Thank you very much. And it will also help when you're adhering things down to very textured areas like texture paste or like glass beads, things like that. So I'm using that particular glue for most of this layout. So you'll see me work with that. Now down in the bottom left corner there, I think that aqua color would actually would work really well for journaling. And I was thinking about that initially, but then I decided not to. I decided, okay, I'm probably going to do some clustering or something down there. But I think that's generally how I want the papers to be put down on the page. And I still have that mixed media showing. I still have some of the glass beads showing. So now I'm going to pull out all of these beautiful embellishments. So I have cardstock stickers. They came out with a pack of gold foil vellum pieces, embellishments. So you see me pulling out that pink tag there. I'm going to put that on. Puffy Alphas. This is all from the Pretty Sweet by Kim and Kimberly, and it's exclusive to the Hip Kit Club. So check that out. Check out the Hip Kit Club when you get a chance, because they've got some great kits that they throw together so that you can enjoy, you know, doing some really fun scrapbooking. They also have a whole bunch of mixed media and things that you can also add on that coordinate with the kit. In this case, I had most of what I needed, so I was fine. I really loved the kit. The only thing with the kit is that it was very Easter based, and it was definitely made for March, because a lot of the tags and a lot of the vellum said March, and including the chipboard, and there were Easter bunnies and things like that. But I managed to work it so that I got this all used, or not all of it, but you know, a fair size chunk of it used up for a summertime layout. And so I just pulled out, you know, the embellishments that I thought I would like to use. I really love this journaling tag, this circle. I'm just not sure where I'm going to put it, and you'll see where I end up with it eventually. So there's so much ephemera in here. I mean, they loaded this with ephemera. So I start sort of picking through it and figuring out which pieces I want to use. And then when I've sort of got it separated out, I start playing around with grabbing some of the embellishments I know I'm going to use and where am I going to put them. And so you see me playing around with that tag thinking that I'm going to cover up that purple splash that I really didn't like, but I still am not going to end up putting it there. Really love the star, but then I realized that would be the only star on the page, so I decided not to use it. So I left a lot of the cardstock stickers alone and put them back onto the acetate for use with another day, because there just wasn't a lot that really would work with the kit too much. So in the end, I just decided I'm going to stick with just a few things. There is a lot of mixed media in the background, so there is that interest. And I decided to go with like these butterflies. The butterflies are really cute. And I also put down a polka dot, gold foil polka dot tag just underneath the banner there to cover up a lot of that glass bead gel that I wasn't quite thrilled with. And so you'll see me commit finally to where I'm going to put that journaling tag. I'm going to put it down in that corner there. And I think what that does too is you'll see where I end up placing a lot of the embellishments, but having that extra embellishment down at the bottom and then with the smaller photo, it just kind of brings the eye down through the page. Because it kind of, it goes from a larger photo to a smaller photo to the journaling. So I thought that was a good progression for how to place it. And then I decided that I wasn't going to actually put my title down on the aqua paper. Instead, I was going to put in a cute little cluster down there with some flowers. I do use a couple of the cardstock stickers. I use some of the other ephemera and decide to pop up some of the flowers. And I love popping up the little butterflies. What I do for the little butterflies to pop them up and kind of curl their wings a little bit is I just put a little strip of foam tape on the underneath of the body, and then that way it sticks to everything, and the little wings you can pull them up and make it look like they're flying. So I thought that was kind of cute. And then, of course, there's these gorgeous vellum pieces that look like flowers too that are in the ephemera, so I decided to put one over there. But I really loved all of the vellum, the gold foil vellum, all of the vellum embellishments. They're really, really pretty. I mean, the trouble with this kit was trying to figure out what I wanted to work with because there was so much. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. So here I'm putting, again, some foil vellum down. And again, you'll see that I'm placing it so that it's not quite even with the banner piece that's tucking out there, but it is kind of bringing the eye. There's gold in different places, so it's bringing the eye over to that side for the gold. So it just kind of gives me a little bit of a balance in terms of the gold that's on the page and the gold polka dots and gold florals. And then I have also included, you probably can see it now, is there's a little scallop polka dot that's underneath the aqua paper now too that I have included, and that helps sort of bring the eye around too with the different pieces of gold foil vellum. So I thought that was kind of a fun thing to do. Then what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be tying off some of the little tags. I'm not going to actually tie the twine to the tag, but I'm just going to make a couple of little bows so that we don't have untied tags. I normally would leave them untied, but seeing that they're vellum, it really kind of looked more awkward than usual for me. So I decided that it was time for me to pull out some twine and actually make some little bows for it. So I'm just trying to figure out how to do that, and then I chose like a multicolor because I thought it was going to work well with the tissue paper that's underneath the photos. And that way, and again, I'm using the Halbert because it needs to stick down to the paper through the little hole, and make sure that that it stays put and doesn't budge. And I really do love the Halbert 450. It's my go-to glue. But the only thing that I'm not crazy about with it is that, you know, you will end up with the glue globs that end up coming up the top occasionally. So make sure that you close it when you're done with it. Otherwise, you'll end up wasting a lot of glue. So as I said, this kit is just really pretty. It's got so much in it. It's just trying to choose what you have is the trick with it, I guess. These photos, as I said, are summer, and this kit is made for spring. There's a lot of mentions of spring, bunnies, Easter, there's eggs, there's chocolate, but there are a lot of butterflies. There's a lot of really cute embellishments that you can still use that don't say spring or Easter. So, so that's what I really picked out. I'm embellishing now with a few little hearts. There's some were paper ephemera, some were cardboard, and so that way I'm getting some extra texture there. And then I'm going to add some of the enamel dots. And the enamel dots, you'll see I've put down my title too, Time at the Beach. So that's my title. And I love how they alpha that they give you actually has 2 alphas. Love that. So it looks like a tequila sunrise. So I really enjoyed that. And so I'm just going to put down some enamel dots. They came out with, they have so many colors of the enamel dots that work with this, and just adorable. So I've got those around the page, and I think this layout looks really summery, really beachy, and that's where I was. I was at the beach in Cape Breton for these photos, and just a wonderful place. So I actually journaled about it afterwards. I'm not gonna journal on camera, but you'll see that I'm choosing a lot of the little enamel dots. And a great tip is just put the enamel dot where you want it, push down on the acetate, and then pull the acetate out. And that way you don't have to pick it up, and it doesn't, you know, they don't fly all over the room. You don't end up with an enamel dot on your sneaker or in your hair. That's happened to me before. But you end up with your enamel dots exactly where you want them. So I'm still looking through my embellishments to figure out what I want to use, what else I want to add. In the end, I decided, no, that's enough. Enough is enough. So here's the close-ups for you. I hope you really enjoyed this this layout and the creation of it. You can see some of the glass bead gels under there. And if you enjoyed the video, please give me a thumbs up. Thank you for being here. I really enjoy making these videos for you. I hope you find them useful and that you've got lots of tips. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel and click the notification bell so that you'll be notified of my future videos. Have a great National Scrapbook Day, everybody. Bye now.